the designation of this Iranian group? We now know what ASIO was able to uncover with the help of Israeli intelligence about anti-Semitic attacks here on Australian soil, both in Sydney and in Melbourne. And you know, as a local member, just how scary this has been for the Jewish and Israeli diaspora, and how this can really change their perception of safety and really changes their day-to-day lives. Should your government have designated this particular group a terrorist group long before? The US did it 2 years ago.
Well, I am very well aware of how frightening this has been for the Jewish community in Sydney. In fact, Newtown Synagogue in my electorate was one of the places that was attacked. Fortunately, the attack was not as serious as the Adass Israel Synagogue. You know, the physical attack was not as serious, but it's just as frightening for the local community. And it is important, now that we know who is behind these attacks, that we have expelled Iranian diplomats.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Is it your understanding as well that the attack on the synagogue in your electorate was also linked to the Iranian directive?
I don't have any information to that effect yet, but I know that investigations are ongoing on the further attacks. So we have some information that's been made public. Investigations are ongoing. I'm not going to comment on that because that doesn't help investigators do their job. Nevertheless, that was a frightening attack. The point I'm making is that I understand from my community, from the community in my electorate, how frightening this has been for them. And it's very important that we continue to investigate to take these threats seriously. Now, Laura, you're asking, you know, should we have expelled diplomats earlier? It is a very serious step to take, and there are negative consequences in expelling diplomats as well. One of those is we cannot directly make our displeasure known to a country. If we don't have diplomatic representation in that country, they don't have diplomatic representation here. It is much harder to express our concerns about their behaviour, should we have concerns about their behaviour. We've taken the advice of our security agencies, but we've been watching this very closely to make sure that we act in a way that keeps the Australian community safe.
I'm actually asking just about the designation of the IRGC as well. I know that expelling diplomats is certainly a big step, and I understand why you want to keep close eye on things there. But the designation of the IRGC was something different. The US did it 2 years ago. Perhaps your government are just too slow to do that. Would it have changed things?
Well, I mean, that's something that I'm sure people will speculate on. I will say that we continually take the advice of our security and intelligence agencies. We work very closely with them. We will need to legislate to do this, and we're prepared to do that. We've got the evidence now that the Iranian regime has been behind serious attacks on Australian soil. This is something that no government could ignore.
No, indeed. Just finally, Jonathan Lee has done a special investigation here on Sky News about NDIS. This is obviously a massive feature of the budget, a massive impediment on the budget. We know how important this program is to so many people, but the rise in the diagnoses of autism. What is your broad view on what the NDIS should be? Should it go back to first principles of it just being a safety net for the profoundly disabled, or should the remit be further?
Look, the NDIS is a fantastic program that has changed the lives of many, many Australians, and we want to protect it and preserve it. That means it can't continue to grow at a rate of 22%. It's already one of the largest programs in the federal budget. We inherited growth at 22%. We've managed to bring that down to about 11% per annum. It can't continue to grow at that rate, or it will become unsustainable. So we have to make sure that we're getting value for money, that we're getting any of the shonks or criminals out of the system, and we've really gone after some of those shonky operators. And we also have the opportunity now to look at how we most efficiently deliver services for children, particularly with an autism diagnosis. Now, any parent knows how hard it is to get the supports you need and the interventions you need for a child with a diagnosis of autism or similar. And at the moment, what happens is those parents fighting for every support their child needs, quite rightly, as any parent would do, they're out there competing against one another to get the occupational therapist, to get the speech pathology, to get the services that their child needs. Wouldn't it be better if some of these services could be developed and delivered in early childhood education settings, in our schools, in our community centres and community services, in early childhood nurse environments, so that parents don't need to be fighting for every service individually for that child? Well, that's what Thriving Kids will do. Now, no child's going to be, who's already on the NDIS, is going to be just removed from the NDIS, and children who join the NDIS before Thriving Kids is up and running will use the system as it exists at the moment. But what we want to do is offer a system that makes life easier for parents, that doesn't have them running around trying to piece together all the supports that their child needs, but to have that offered as a package in a supportive environment. And that's better for the NDIS budget as well.
Tanya Plibersek, great to have you back on the program. We'll see you soon.
Lovely to see you. Thank you.